Alright, hello everyone, welcome back to the channel. This of course is another anime reaction video. Today, we're reacting to some more Death Parade. After those first two episodes, I'm really intrigued to see where this is gonna go, especially because of how short this is, with only it being, 12 episodes, not including the original OVA, which, from what I looked up online, I should be fine to watch it after episode 6 or so, which is probably what I'm gonna do then. So that's gonna be coming up pretty soon, actually. But either way, there's just so much mystery to all of this, which I love so much. It's such an intriguing setting as well as like the playing games and the afterlife sort of thing. And I'm really excited because episode 1 was a great introduction. Episode 2 was also a great follow-up in explaining some of the things that happen in this sort of a universe, so to speak. And now I'm really excited for episode 3 because we're potentially going to be getting a new game, and I say that saying that makes me feel like I'm talking about a Saw movie or something. We got to get into the new game, which is, now that I think about it, life or death games kind of like Saw. Obviously, the context for the game is very different, but either way, I'm looking forward to the game, and maybe some more small insights into the lore of this series, because I imagine it's going to be kind of like that, where they drop little hints of lore throughout the episodes, and then it doesn't really get fully revealed or explained until closer to the end. But with that all being said, I'm really excited to get into more Death Parade. If you are also really excited to get into more Death Parade, make sure to hit that like button. It's the best way to let me know that you like these videos and you want me to keep making more of these. And while you're at it, you might as well also subscribe, hit the notification bell so you don't miss a single upload in the future. With that all being said, as always, unless you're new here, in the description below you will find links to the full-length uncut reaction, so you can go to one of those sites, watch the reaction, and then you can come back to YouTube where you watch the discussion. With that all being said, let's get started with episode 3 of Death Parade. Okay, so yeah, as I was saying, this was a sorely needed episode, sort of a bit of a reprieve from the depression and the darkness and the intensity of the first 2 episodes. The first episode was mad crazy. It was depressing. It was all those negative emotions I just was talking about. But in episode 2, it was a bit more lax because they were explaining how things work a bit more, but for the most part it was about the same level of craziness that was happening in the first episode. It was mostly just the first episode again, but from a different perspective, which was very nice. But real quick, just wanna say, I was right. I'm saying this for no one else but myself, but I was right. I saw that fucking shadow, and I knew it. I'm a genius. I'm a genius. I figured the thing out. I did it. I'm so smart. But yeah, this is so wholesome. And I also, again, it's gonna be like this for the rest of it. I don't know if the next episode is gonna be another game, or if they're gonna go explore some more people that live in Queendekium, because so far we haven't seen any more outside of Clavis, Nona, I believe, Dekim, and New Girl. Still don't have a name for her yet. I don't know if I'm just missing it or if she just doesn't have a name yet. But I liked the way they did this. It was okay. What are we doing here, pod player? Not okay. Yeah, so that didn't work out, and I kind of like how they didn't, obviously, but I kind of like how they were almost going the way of leaving it really like vague and up to interpretation if those things were true at all. And I am still glad that they outright said it, because I feel like that's kind of necessary to do. Would be kind of necessary to do that, because it would have been way too vague if they hadn't said anything. Because I was under the impression it was an organ transplant, and Chisato was dead. And I think because they were trying to keep a more light tone, they weren't going with that idea. They instead had it be that she got plastic surgery so that she could look different and go somewhere else and start a new life, because she didn't want to be bogged down by feelings she has for another person when he doesn't even like acknowledge she exists, or they start talking a lot less, which is its own way kind of sad. That's it seems a bit extreme though, doesn't it, to get a whole ass fucking plastic surgery. And maybe I want to look this up, how, like, to get cosmetic, not medical, How old do you have to be to get plastic surgery? There is none. Parental consent is required for patients in Japan. Plastic surgery in Japan. Let me see. Oh, this is from 2009 though. You're a legal adult when you're 18, so you. I assume it'll be similar. Again, I don't know much about Japan, but if it's different, she could get cosmetic surgery without need for parental consent. Oh wait, no, after high school, isn't it? That's what she said. Yeah. Okay, so after high school, she got plastic surgery and then left to move on with her life. Apparently. Again, seems like a bit of an overreaction. But, oh, that shot of her at the end where half of it is her new face and the other half is her old face. But maybe I just, I'm stupid, but it seems like a bit of an overreaction. And again, maybe it's just because they wanted it to be a more lighthearted episode, and so that's what they had it be, instead of what I was thinking, with that being that Chisato died at some... Or no. Chisato at some point had to donate her organs to Mai. No, Chisato died and she was an organ donor, and then at some point Mai had to get her Chisato's organs put into her. And if that were going to be the case of how the story went, then they could have gone with and I feel like what would have been a bit more of a predicament in how the character feels about it and how Miura feels about it. Shigeru, or was it Miura? I think it's Miura. Miura Shigeru. His conflict would have been less of, oh, you lied to me, you're not my childhood friend Chisato, you're my other childhood friend, and I'm mad about that. I don't think that was ever going to be a conflict. I felt like there might have been a conflict when they didn't reveal it yet, and he was kind of like silently standing behind her when she remembered everything. And while it was still wholesome to hear him say that he still wanted to go out with her regardless, I figured because if they had gone with the whole organ transplant thing and Chisato already being dead, even though it wouldn't have made sense for Shigeru to blame Mai for anything because of the organ transplant, or because if the organ transplant were to happen, I'm talking about a hypothetical storyline that doesn't matter, but if Mai and Chisato were in the same accident and Chisato was basically guaranteed to die or something, and Mai had a chance of dying if she had Chisato's organ, then Shigeru would realistically or I wouldn't blame him for blaming Mai for Chisato's death, even though it wouldn't have been her fault. And then it could have been a more tense scene where it's like, will he get mad at me and do something like Takashi did and attack her because of how pissed off he is that he lost his childhood friend Chisato to his other childhood friend, even though... something like that. And that, I think that would have also helped to make the that will you still go out with me because I don't blame you for it, and I do love you, obviously. That would have definitely hit very hard. But still, the fact that what we got is still great. Okay. It's still great, and I'm really excited. I'm just really glad we got this bit of wholesomeness. It was very nice. And I kind of... in that shot of her with one side looking kind of sad. Oh no, it's just the lipstick, I guess. But the half-face thing, and how New Girl was commenting on how she looked kind of like how she's... Or... What is it? What she said? Does the adult Mai look at all like Chisato? He doesn't know, but that might have been an interesting plot point, that while they did enjoy their date, that Shigeru only really... Well, yeah, Shigeru only really took notice of her after she got the plastic surgery, because he said there's this cute girl that works there, and then he points to her at the bowling alley with his friends, but then there's just that's Mai, right? And he's like, whoa, why is Mai hot now? Because that's literally because she got plastic surgery. So... In a way, that's also kind of sad that he only really noticed the girl that loved him since they were kids after he had basically, whether on purpose or not, distanced himself from her, and then eventually she was like, I'm not making myself pretty with plastic surgery for his sake. She was doing it because she wanted to leave all that behind, and I guess looking at her normal face hurt her too much because it only reminded her of a love she could never have when she was younger type thing. So I don't know. That's just the kind of like a feeling I get when I see that last shot of Mai in the elevator. So mostly wholesome episode with like a small hints of potentially like really sad and depressing shit underneath it, but that could just be me looking way too into it. I am not gonna put that past myself because when I really want to sink my teeth into something and sort of like explore some of the stuff in regard to it, I will go on for a pretty long time. It happens sometimes. But I think other than that, I've pretty much said all I've wanted to say for this episode, so I'm going to get into the next episode, episode 4. God damn it. You really had to hit me. You really had to really lube me up with a fucking beautiful, wholesome story about childhood friends reuniting in the future and falling in love one last time before they fucking died. And then you gotta hit me with that depressing shit. God, I mean, it's so well written. I'm mad that the show writers decided to make me so sad right after making me really warming my heart with that. But this was really good. It was really interesting. I feel like they could have expanded on things some more because some of these ideas that I had and I brought up while watching the episode weren't really fully explained. And it just feels like I'm kind of missing information. Like, so they live separate lives, which I get that. And one of the Flashes, she used to be the popular girl, Gyaru, I think they call it, a gal. She used to be one of the popular ones. Wears the nice outfit, those like leg warmers and whatever, nice hairstyles. And she ended up getting pregnant multiple times before the father walked out. She tried getting in multiple relationships after that to try and make things work, but all she ever got out of those relationships was torture, mental anguish, and more children to have to take care of. And while I don't necessarily blame her for getting so like frustrated because of all of that, I think it's mostly because she had no one she could trust or talk to about it that she had so many problems with her home life, starting to like, I'll call it like it is, emotionally manipulative. She was manipulating him, even though she didn't know it wasn't a TV show, using Yosuke, because she's been used so much. That's just kind of a part of her life now, that's using people. And even then, that's also reflected in her sort of a career or whatever, which is a famous celebrity actor or whatever. She's using her kids as like tools to be like, hey, I'm a good person, and she's making money off the fact that she's a single mom, and I don't think that's necessarily wrong. Use what you've got if you have to. Just, I think it's important to sort of like acknowledge things instead of acting like you're above it all somehow. And I do really sympathize with both of their plights here, especially because that's something that's definitely common in life. Single mothers having to basically go against the world because they have no one else to turn to, because the people they thought they could trust, that the people that said they loved them and, you know, said they would be together forever and got married even and had kids with them, only to not only physically or verbally or emotionally abuse, but also to just walk out. It can make it hard for people to trust them. And again, it's also a case that because she had no one, it ended up making things worse for her kids, because here it is, the shot again. Even though her home life with her actual kids is never really explicitly said again, this shot right here is of her eating food while her kids just like crying, and the older kids are like, ugh, come on, mom, you're no better than dad, even, who completely walked out on us because you're neglecting us all the same. And I think, it's really gotta suck, because being a single parent is by far is one of the most difficult jobs that you can have, because especially if it's in a similar situation. She's in a tiny ass apartment and she has like no one to turn to, because I imagine, even though it wasn't shown, that her parents disowned her for it, because that's something that at least in Japanese media, and how it's portrayed in Japanese media, when shit like that happens, especially because from what it looked like, she got pregnant before she got married. So, out of wedlock, that's at least maybe, because this came out like, what, 2015? I feel like that would still be pretty taboo among, the older generation. So, yeah. And then Yosuke's story. That's also like a common Japanese thing, from what I know. Becoming a NEET, and it's usually never really elaborated on why. It's usually like the whatever. At least if you listen to the people on like Twitter who constantly use the word incel and weeb or whatever, it's to the point where those words have no meaning anymore. It's usually just like in reference to who they are right now and never really caring how they got that way, because I'm sure Yosuke is like not a very good person because of he's always shutting himself inside. He's obviously got to be very cold, but if that's because of the way he was brought up with a mother that abused him and really neglected him and treated him like shit and eventually abandoned him, and a father who wasn't strong enough to at the very least stand up to it all, really must have hurt him, and that's how he got to this point, which really sucks, because no matter what, there's always going to be shitty things like this in the world, and that's why it just really sucks, and it really broke my heart knowing that he was dead, and then seeing how he's not even able to give his stepmom a chance, because I thought it was going to be like how all the extra men that I've forgotten her name, Misaki. All the extra men that Misaki brought home ended up doing the same things, abusing her and leaving her with a bunch of kids because they don't want to accept responsibility either. But the fact that he genuinely was having somebody who would take care of him in his life, but because of past traumas, he wasn't able to accept it. I think, it could be, it's kind of like an interesting dichotomy between the two characters. Misaki never had anybody who she could rely on and have someone to be there for her, but even still she wanted that so badly that she was willing to take those chances and constantly get with people that she could hoped would be for the long run. And that's encapsulated by her line, "My whole life has been lies, and people have been lying to me my whole life," that sort of thing. That really hurts. And on the other hand, Yosuke was so emotionally, crippled by his mother, because his own flesh and blood, his own biological mother, outright said to him that she wished he was never born or something like that, and so that stunted his emotional growth to the point where he couldn't grow any new connections, and that's how he slowly became like a social outcast and a NEET. And goddamn, dude. The show just really knows how to get you to care for and sympathize with the characters' struggles. Without in only 20 minutes. God damn it. And that the ultimate attack being his mother. Oh fuck. Again, they're not doing like how they did in the first episode, where they said one of them went to the void, one of them went to be reincarnated. They're leaving it completely vague. Again, my headcanon for both of these is that they all got reincarnated, because maybe if the void is supposed to be the ultimate goal, and it just has a scary name, and the void is just escaping all of the pain of living, even then I'd still think that's not like the best outcome, because if you watched Evangelion, Neon Genesis Evangelion, that the whole point is that trying to run away from the pain means you can't be happy either, because it's the pain of human interaction that makes those small bits, of happiness and warmth completely worth it. And so I think that's why I think reincarnation would be considered the good option out of the two, between reincarnation and void. So my headcanon is Miura and Mai are reincarnated, and they can find each other again and live happily until the age of 80, where they die peacefully together. And then in these two cases, I'm also headcanoning that they get reincarnated. Even though, if you think about it, because of all the shit they went through, it might be better for them to go to the void, both of them, so they don't have to suffer through any more. Because they really, out of all of the characters we've met so far that have died and come to Queen Dekim, these two have had it the worst in life before they died. But even still, I still want a headcanon that they got reincarnated so that they could start over and hopefully have a better start to their life, because a lot of people underestimate how important the early years of a person's life is to molding who they'll be in the future. So real quick though, even though as far as I know it hasn't been outright stated, I want to go look at the Death Parade wiki, or like fandom page, I guess, just so I can see if maybe there's insight onto who went where, basically. Let me see episodes. Let me check episodes. Let me see 3 and 4 before sending both their souls for reincarnation. Hell yes. It wasn't stated, but they were reincarnated. Fucking hell yeah. Really? Hold on a second. I need to go back. I was reading the wiki. I just need to go check if that's true. Did they really have the masks? Oh yeah, okay, so you can tell who is going where based on the masks. Red is void, and then the lighter, I think white color mask is reincarnation. So I was right. They don't say it out loud, but you're supposed to see those, and that'll show you who goes where. But come on, give me a clear shot of the elevators, you dicks. I just need to watch this one scene again. It looked like, because Yosuke was on the left and Misaki was on the right, so it looks like Yosuke got reincarnated while Misaki went to the void. The exact reasons why? I'm not sure. But maybe it's because even though they both had really terrible lives, Misaki potentially had it worse because the abuse fucked her up so bad that it had ended up with her starting to whether it was on purpose or not, abuse her kids by being neglectful of them with that shot of her. So because of the fact that it was so negatively affecting her life, it'd be better for her to never have to potentially go through that ever again and just go to the void. Well, in Yosuke's case, he went through a lot of shit, but before the end of his life, there was something that was trying to bring him out of it, but because of his own, pessimism and like nihilism of what's the point of even living anymore, he ended up taking his life way earlier. And this is basically like a second chance to try that again, because one of them was basically not necessarily fucked for life. There could have been a way, but she's been through so much that it would have been a lot harder to have her have a happy life, when Yosuke had would have had an easier chance, but because of his past trauma, he ended up giving up earlier. Something like that. That's my interpretation of it. But anyway, that's pretty much all I had to say about this episode. Thank you all so much for watching. If you enjoyed, make sure to hit that like button, subscribe, turn notifications on so you don't miss a single upload in the future. Thank you once again for watching. Peace.